Hi, I'm Asif Farouk of Finextra and I'm joined by Jeremy Suddards, Vice President of Financial Services at HP. Thank you for joining us. So it seems like more than half of the respondents to the survey are in the middle of a project right now to enhance overall customer experience. Why do you think that number is so high right now?
I think regardless of which part of the sector you're in, you're trying to build trust with your client or your consumer. So if you're a tier 1 bank and you're recovering from the last 4 or 5 years worth of engagement with your clients and with the wider market, you're really looking to do things to rebuild that trust, to actually start to grow your own client base and the business you do with those clients. They're also fighting against the new entrants in the market. So this is mid-tier, smaller organisations who are truly trying to differentiate themselves from the traditional banking market. So actually, regardless of where you are in the sector, you're really having to drive customer experience as the single differentiator to start to grow your business again.
So legacy infrastructure and budgets were the dominant barriers to delivering high levels of customer service. What strategies can be used to overcome this?
I think budgets will always be a barrier to driving new levels of customer service, because actually you're competing for those budgets not only by the internal IT functions and the businesses, but by the banks themselves to repurpose to shore up capital or actually to drive more lending or products within their own area. So I think whether you're a tier 1 bank or whether you're a new entrant, that's going to be an issue. So I think working out strategies are ways of actually working out the impact that you need to make, the investment you need to make, and how you can smooth that over a much longer period. You know, we're currently delivering contracts with new banks for 7 to 10 years, which will have a big capital impact and investment by ourselves at the beginning of that period, but then smoothing that over the longer term of the contract. I think the other side of that, with legacy infrastructure, there is a bigger problem for the tier 1 banks. You know, they've been underinvested in IT, particularly for the last 3 to 4 years. So actually hampering that is going to be a big challenge. I think the strategy you need to look at, what can you actually deliver which wrap around those existing infrastructures and still deliver those services rather than completely ripping and replacing them.
So mobile emerged as the top trend for delivering high levels of customer experience. Do banks understand how to take advantage of mobile in order to do this?
I think mobile is the channel. Mobile is the way that you're going to deliver that experience to the end consumer. So mobile is almost the table stakes to deliver that for either a new client or for an existing client. The real value of mobile is actually how you interact with the client. And so very quickly behind mobile, I think that's very clear in the survey, how you use the data that your customer gives you is going to be the big differentiator. Now you might want to call that big data, but actually it's about how we actually offer something to the client which has some context and some realism, but also how we actually take advantage of the data that customer's giving us on a daily basis. So yeah, mobile's the biggest trend today, but really I think in the next 2 or 3 years you'll really see what's delivered via mobile as being the key trend that's going to make the big difference in customer experience.
And what can the banking world learn from the way multi-channel retail delivers on customer experience?
I think it's interesting that most of the banks think the retailers really understand customer experience and really know how to do it. And most of the retailers don't understand why the banks aren't leveraging all of the spending data and the purchase data that they're sitting on. What's interesting, even though we've seen some tie-ups between banks and supermarkets, for example, they've still kept those functions quite distinctly separate, and so they've not actually integrated those two together. So I think we'll see that change, and I think actually the organisation that either decides to change strategy or the new entrant will actually make the biggest difference there. But I think there's a lot that both of them can learn from both of the sectors.